The stars stretched endlessly across the galaxy, like a sea of diamonds scattered on black velvet. Among them, the planet Xiphora shone brighter than most. Its oceans shimmered in pale blue, and its cities floated above the surface like glowing islands. At the heart of Xiphora's capital, in a palace carved from crystal and light, lived Princess Lyra Xiphora, the most admired and envied being in the galaxy. Lyra was not only beautiful, her silver hair flowed like liquid moonlight, and her eyes reflected the colors of Xiphora's twin moons, but also wise beyond her years. Every major civilization in the galaxy wanted her hand in marriage. Aliens from hundreds of planets sent gifts, proposals, and messages of loyalty. Some came with fleets of starships hoping to impress her, but Lyra had grown tired of it all. These suitors saw only her title, her influence, her power. None saw her as a person. That morning, the palace was alive with the usual buzz of diplomats, advisors, and aliens from distant worlds. Lyra walked along a corridor lined with floating gardens. Flowers of blue, pink, and gold floated in mid-air, spinning gently as if dancing to an unseen song. She ran her fingers across the petals, thinking about the endless parade of visitors who sought her approval. "I wish the galaxy could see me for who I am, not for what I am," she murmured to herself. Outside, the city's spaceports were busy as usual. Ships of every shape and size arrived daily, bringing exotic creatures, rare minerals, and news from across the stars. One ship, however, was unusual. Small, battered, and clearly not part of the royal fleet, it struggled to maintain orbit near Xiphora. In the palace control room, Lyra's head of security, Commander Valar, noticed it immediately. "Your Highness, a strange vessel is entering our airspace. It appears damaged. We should investigate." Lyra nodded, curiosity sparkling in her eyes. "Bring them in," she said. "I want to meet whoever dares to enter Xiphora unannounced." Captain Ethan Ward gritted his teeth as he fought with the controls of his small exploration ship. Sparks flew from a damaged engine panel, and alarms blared continuously. He had been mapping uncharted sectors near Xiphora when a sudden energy storm disabled most of his systems. If he didn't find a safe place to land soon, he would be lost in the void. Finally, his ship shuddered and stabilized. Xiphora's massive crystal palace reflected the twin suns, guiding him like a beacon. "Finally," he muttered. "Let's hope these aliens are friendly." When his ship touched down in the palace docking bay, he was met not with armed guards, but with an escort of graceful figures. He blinked. None of them looked threatening. They moved with elegance, their skin shimmering faintly in colors he had never seen before. And then he saw her. Princess Lyra Xiphora. She approached with a smile, her eyes studying him carefully. Ethan, a human from a small blue planet called Earth, felt completely out of place among these radiant beings. His brown hair was messy, his uniform stained with oil and dust, and he carried the faint smell of space fuel. Yet for some reason, Lyra did not seem offended. Instead, she seemed intrigued. "You are far from home, human," she said, her voice smooth like liquid starlight. "Yes," Ethan replied, bowing slightly. My ship was damaged in a storm. I hope I'm not intruding." Lyra shook her head. "Intruding? No one comes to Xiphora by accident. Tell me, human, what do you see when you look at this planet?" Ethan looked around. The floating gardens, the crystal towers, the ships gliding silently above the city, it was unlike anything he had ever imagined. He spoke honestly. "I see beauty, and I see life that feels alive, not just powerful. People who care about more than politics or power." Lyra blinked. No alien diplomat had ever said something like that to her. Most praised her beauty, her intelligence, or the strength of her throne. Ethan only noticed her world. The next hours passed quickly. Lyra decided that Ethan could stay in the palace while his ship was repaired. He was given a small room near the observation deck. The view was breathtaking. From there, one could see Zephora's oceans, floating cities, and the distant stars beyond. During the evening, Lyra invited him to explore the palace. They walked through hallways that glowed with energy, past libraries that contained the history of the galaxy, and into gardens that floated in zero gravity. Ethan's eyes were wide with amazement. This is incredible, he said. How did anyone even build something like this? Lyra smiled, amused. Years of work, diplomacy, and a lot of stubborn architects, and perhaps a little magic, she added playfully. They laughed together, a sound rare in the palace's usually formal halls. For the first time in years, Lyra felt relaxed. Here was someone who saw her as a person, not a prize or a political advantage. However, the galaxy was never quiet for long. Back on the spaceports and in distant councils, whispers began. The princess was spending time with a human. Some dignitaries laughed at the idea, others scowled, their eyes narrowing with suspicion. Did you hear? One alien envoy whispered. Princess Lyra is hosting a human in her palace. Can you believe it? Yes, replied another. A human. They are simple, untested, hardly suitable for royal marriage. Lyra was unaware of these murmurs as she and Ethan watched the twin moons rise above Zephora. The moons reflected off his eyes, making them appear bright and thoughtful. You're different from anyone I've met, she said quietly. Ethan shrugged. I suppose humans are simple that way. We say what we feel, try to solve problems honestly, and we don't hide behind crowns or titles. Lyra laughed softly. Simple, perhaps, but I think simple can be very powerful. For the first time, she felt excitement, not from politics, not from power, but from genuine connection. The next morning, Ethan helped the palace engineers repair a small energy generator. His human approach, simple, practical, and creative, surprised the alien technicians. Where they had complicated formulas, Ethan had a straightforward solution. Lyra watched from above, leaning against a balcony railing. She felt a strange pride. This human, from a small blue planet, had impressed her palace staff more than the most gifted alien engineers in the galaxy. You continue to surprise me, she whispered to herself. As the day ended, Lyra escorted Ethan to the edge of the palace gardens. Stars glittered in the sky, ships gliding silently through space. For a brief moment, all the politics, proposals, and expectations of the galaxy seemed far away. You could leave, she said softly. Return to your people. No one would blame you for staying away from all this madness. Ethan looked at her, a faint smile on his face. I could leave, but I don't want to. Not yet. Lyra's heart skipped. She had expected him to be cautious, to fear the power and danger of her world. Instead, he chose curiosity, courage, and perhaps a little adventure. And in that moment, a thought flickered in Lyra's mind, a dangerous, thrilling thought. What if this human was not just another visitor? What if he could be something more? Little did she know, the galaxy would soon notice their growing connection. Alien suitors would begin to murmur, plotting to remind her of her duty. But Lyra could not ignore the truth. For the first time, she felt drawn not by power or politics, but by something utterly human. And that was only the beginning.